or
All
I'll
right.
Discord them to you.
And we're
Viewing
live.
afterwards.
We're live. Are you ready?
I am born. I was born ready. That doesn't work when you say it like that.
Yeah. Hello. I hear myself.
You hear yourself?
Yeah. Just hello. Oh, it's gone now. I don't know. Maybe it was a weird bug. All right. The show must go on. I got to hit record. All right. We're recording. Let's go.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Welcome back, everyone, to Stadiacast, your number one source for all the Stadia news that you need to know about. I'm Bill. That's Lloyd. What's going on, Lloyd?
Not much, man. Just trying to dig myself out from all the snow we've been getting here in Winnipeg. But yeah, it's good. It's more encouragement to stay in the house, warm, and play video games.
It's funny. I was outside cleaning. We got a bunch of snow last night as well, and I was snow blowing the driveway. And I kept trying to remember, what was that joke that Lloyd said about where he lives? And I was like, oh, yeah, Winterpeg, Manasnoba. And then I chuckled about that while I was cleaning the driveway. So thank you for the entertainment. But this is not This Week in Snow. This is Stadiacast. So before we get started, we record the show live every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time, and you can join us live over at youtube.com/StadiaCast. We've got a bunch of people who are already here, so thank you guys for coming. Lloyd has a brand new camera, and I'm sure he'll tell us about that's no longer crashing our stuff, which is awesome. If you want to directly support Stadiacast, super easy to do. Come hang out with us live. Use the super chat feature, and that directly supports the show, and it makes sure that we see your message. So in the second half of the show, we can respond to it. And if you use the super chat feature, we guarantee that we will respond to your question either on the show or after the show, depending on how many come in. We always want to remind people that there's a join button right down below the video, so make sure you click on that and you can find out how you can become a member here at the channel. And Lloyd, what have you been playing this? Well, actually, wait, talk about your new camera. Which camera did you get? Because it looks great.
Yeah. Well, thanks, man. I did some searching, and I didn't want to buy a DSLR and hook it up and get all the other equipment that you need to hook it up into your computer. So I was looking for what's the best webcam that you can buy now. And it turns out that Logitech, which is who made my last one, who apparently has driver issues, which is causing Discord to crash, makes all of the webcams. You do a search for webcams and they make 1,800 different models of webcams. So I was looking, and finally found out that Razer makes a webcam. They call it the Kiyo, Kiyo. And it's about the same price as the C920. So I thought it would be kind of a cheapo, just a solution just to get rid of my crashing. But it turns out it's a super high quality camera. It has a ring light around the lens. So if you're in a dark room, you can turn the ring light on and you can just light yourself with nothing else behind you. It is a really, really amazing camera. And you can tell that the quality is just so much better as well. So I'm super stoked with this purchase, and hopefully it doesn't crash, because I did an hour and a half call yesterday and I had no crashes. So fingers crossed we will not drop out during this call.
But if he does, I will promise to make fun of him. Okay. Do you have the ring light on now? Because I don't see it reflecting in your glasses at all.
No, I turned it on now.
Oh, okay. It really doesn't do much, but you also have the key lights, so you don't need any extra light. Exactly. Sam is asking for a link to the camera. I'm sure that Lloyd will find that sometime during the show or after the show. So make sure that you stick around. Speaking of during or after the show, I forgot to send any to Lloyd, but what we'll do is after the show, Lloyd and I are going to make sure to tweet out some buddy passes for Google Stadia. So if you have not already gotten access to Google Stadia, make sure that you follow us on Twitter. I'm at Run Jump Stomp. He is at Dasme. That's Dasme. And we will both tweet out after the show. So if you're here for the whole time, then you'll know when that's going to happen. All right. Are you ready to talk about video games?
I am so ready to talk about video games.
Awesome. What have you been playing this week?
I've been playing not as much as usual. I haven't had a lot of time to play games, but I have been digging into Red Dead. I put up a first look of Red Dead Redemption 2 on the channel. It is really good. It looks really good. Even though in the video that I posted, it looks a little bit grainy and macro blocky in some areas. It looks fantastic. So I'm making my way a little bit through the starting of that game. In doing that, a lot of people said they want to watch me play through the whole game, and I don't know if I want to stream the whole thing, but if people are interested, I'll definitely stream more of it. It's such an old game. Well, it's such an old game. It's a year and a half old or whatever. I didn't know how exciting or excited people would be to watching me play that, but if people want to watch me play, I can definitely do some streaming of that. But that's pretty much all I've been playing on Stadia. I jumped into Borderlands a couple times, but just mainly Red Dead. How about you, man? What have you been playing?
Well, I played very little bit of Borderlands. I feel like, so here's what happened is I played Borderlands like a madman. Not as bad, not as crazy as you. I don't want to say bad, but not as crazy as you. I've been playing Borderlands a lot. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to try out this Pokemon game that I had gotten for Christmas. And I started playing that. And then when I went back to try and play more Borderlands, I was just like, I'm not feeling it. And so I was like, maybe I want to play some Destiny 2. And I loaded up Destiny 2. And I was like, I'm just not feeling it. And I'm not feeling the shooter right now. And then I tried to get back into playing Pokemon. And I like yesterday, I was talking to the Discord about this. And I was like, there is nothing that I want to play. So like this week, I played almost nothing. I played very, very few games. I watched some shows with my family. My wife and I took our son to the movies to see Jumanji the other night, and then last night we went out on a date, sort of, even though the weather was awful, so we had to come back sooner. So my mom, who was babysitting, could head back home before it got too crazy out there. But I haven't been playing anything. I will say this. I loaded up Elder Scrolls Online because, they just had that big announcement the other day. And I know that Elder Scrolls Online is coming to Stadia. I'm very upset that we're not going to hear anything about it until June, though. That makes me very sad. But I've got Elder Scrolls Online on my PC, and I've got it on my PS4. And my PC, I've got an RTX 2060, which is a really good card. And I was playing it, and I was like, I wonder, because I couldn't remember which characters were where. And I was like, I knew I had a character that was like a Templar that was like level 20 something. Maybe that was on my PS4. So I first off, I patched it, which took, I don't know, an hour and a half to patch this stupid thing. So come on, Stadia, get us ESO faster. But I patched it. It took like an hour and a half to patch because I hadn't played in so long. And this is the first time that I've played on my PS4 since I've got a 4K HDR display hooked up to my PS4 Pro. And the difference between the PC version of the game, excuse me, I'm sorry. The difference between the PC version of the game and the PS4 version of the game is night and day, because the PC version of the game does not support HDR, while the PS4 version does. Now, you can do like some kind of weird modding stuff, but I don't know. The end of the day, the reason I haven't been playing anything on Stadia or on my Switch or pretty much anywhere is because I've got the MMO itch right now, and I'm avoiding World of Warcraft because I'm just gonna wait until the next expansion comes out, and I'm sure I'll jump back in on that. But right now, I'm kind of trying to decide: do I want to play more Elder Scrolls Online, or do I want to play more Final Fantasy 14? And part of me doesn't want to play Elder Scrolls Online, even though I really want to, because I don't know if my characters will transfer to Stadia when
Right.
the Stadia version comes out. And if ZeniMax would just answer that one question, I would be so happy.
That'd be great. Yeah, I saw the new trailer for the Skyrim update that is coming, and I hated that I saw it because there's no mention of Stadia, there's no release date, there's no anything. It's just like I don't want anything to do with that. And then for Stadia to tweet it out, it's like, oh, that's like you've already stabbed me. Now you're wiggling the knife a little bit when you do that, because all I want to know is when this is coming, because I played a fair bit, not a lot. Maybe I got halfway up your max level on one of my characters on the PlayStation, and I was like, this is a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. But I didn't go any further just because of other things, and also because it took like every K of storage on my internal storage on my PS4 to not have to deal with hundreds of gigs of data just sitting there should I choose to play a game, because it's in Stadia, would be a really, really good thing.
Absolutely. All right, let's get to the news. Let's talk about all of the Stadia stuff that we need to talk about. Our first story for today is Stadia in the new year. We finally, oh my God, did this take forever or what? 3 weeks of silence from them. I made a video about my overall thoughts about this, but we've got some new information for Stadia in the new year. They posted it over at community.stadia.com, and the big, well, there's a couple of big things in here. The first one is that they are tracking more than 120 games that are coming to Stadia in 2020. So let's focus on just that first. What's your reaction when you hear that, Lloyd?
That makes me very happy. It means that this launch, that many on YouTube with the thumbnails are calling it a failure and the worst thing to happen to gaming, obviously isn't that bad, because it's not scaring all the developers off. So that's a really good thing. So that's 100 plus games that they know. Who knows how many games are being developed right now and then will be made available for Stadia to know later. It's that's a good thing. That means that there's a lot of excitement, at least from developers, and they want to get their content on Stadia.
Okay, and then I agree, and I'm not going to just repeat everything that you said, because that's exactly how I feel. The second half of this paragraph, they said, and are targeting more than 10 games in the first half of the year alone that will only be available on Stadia when they launch. Now, my initial reaction here is that means that they're timed exclusives. Are you reading this the same way?
Yeah, that's probably what most of them will be, is timed exclusives.
All right. So, 10 in the first half of the year. So that means we're probably going to get like 2 a month. Unless, do you think that people are going to, I mean, it's possible that they'll get spaced out, but it's also possible that they'll drop a bunch of them in June right along E3. Do you think that these are games that have already been announced and now they're suddenly exclusive, or do you think these are games that nobody knows about?
I would say most of them are probably games no one knows about yet, or at least don't know that they're coming to Stadia. We know about that. What that packing game, loading up, like moving out. Moving out. We know about that one, and we know that's going to be an exclusive, so that's probably included here. But there's probably just a suite of games that we don't know about. Maybe developers just talked to Stadia over, I don't know, November, December, and said, hey, we want to bring a game to you. And Google's working out their deals, and they say, hey, okay, we would love a timed exclusive. And they work with the developers, figure out what that financial thing is, and then they announce that timed exclusive. I'm thinking most of these games that we're looking at here are only coming because Stadia is doing well, not the complete and total failure as many on YouTube would want you to think.
Just a clarification. We always depend on chat to correct us when we're wrong. It's not called Moving Out, even though both Lloyd and I must know about some game called Moving Out that we're thinking about, but it's called Get Packed is the name of the game. And then Gem in
it's
chat.
a Switch game. That's a Switch game called Moving Out.
Oh, is it? Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Hey, we both do Nintendo shows. Nintendo Switchcraft, Nintendo Pulse. Go check out those shows. So Get Packed is the one that we were talking about. And then Jem in chat is saying one of those games is probably Orcs Must Die. Is that 3 or 4?
3?
I think it's
I
3.
Say?
Yeah, I think it's
I
3.
Say? Yeah.
You know, my son has recently been playing a lot of Fortnite Save the World, not the Battle Royale version, but the Save the World version downstairs. And, you know, and I walk into the room there, like he and his friends are planning out their base, and we're going to put a thing here, and we're going to put this kind of trap there, and we're going to put healing over here. And it got me thinking about Orcs Must Die, because it's a similar style game. And I'm more excited for, like, after just listening to him going through the process of building his Save the World base, I'm a little more excited for Orcs Must Die than I was before. And I think that's really cool.
Right. Oh, nice. Yeah, it looks like a really fun game. I don't know if having all of the enemies on screen at once is really a selling feature for me, but I'm going to wait when we get closer to it. That might be a game that I end up owning down the road.
All right, I'm definitely going to be picking that one up. I can't resist. All right, they also said, here's what we're looking at for Q1 and beyond. So in the next 3 months, they're going to be bringing 4K gaming to the web. You must be pretty excited about that one, right? Because you don't play on your Chromecast very often, do you?
I pretty much only play on my Chromecast now. For the first little bit, I was playing mainly on my PC just because it was easier to get everything into my workflow. But I have my Chromecast permanently held up or hooked up to my HDMI switch. So I only play on Chromecast, but I don't have a 4K monitor. So I'm going to have to buy one. That's on my list of must gets to properly cover Stadia. So that'll be on my list for hopefully soon.
Honey, I got this show. I gotta buy a 4K monitor, right? Is that how it goes?
Yeah, and 3, I got to replace all my TVs in the house with 4K as well, because you never know where you're going to be playing. Yeah, no, that wouldn't work. She's on to me.
Yeah, she doesn't listen to the show, does she?
No.
Okay, good.
I hope not. Oh no, I'm in trouble now.
You're in trouble. So 4K to the web. I think that for a lot of people, maybe not a lot of people. I'm gonna guess that the number of people who actually use 4K screens is pretty low. In fact, we were having a discussion about this in the Discord, runjumpstomp.com/Discord, by the way. And in that conversation, we were arguing a little bit over, no, everybody's got 4K. And I was like, I don't think so. And somebody looked it up on, like, there's this thing that reports the hardware percentages of people who are connected to Steam. And if there's people who are going to have 4K monitors, it's going to be people who are connected to Steam, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was 78% were 1080p.
Wow.
So like of course there's also TVs out there, right? So, but that's not 4K on the web. So the number of people who are getting really excited about 4K gaming on the web, I don't think that that's going to be very many people, but if it's you, then I'm happy for you because you're getting it in the next 3 months.
Yep.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say Shen in the chat room has the best, I don't know, resolution, the resolution that most gamers out there, if you're into like the heavy forums, they talk about optimizing a game. They say you want 1440p with super high refresh rate, and even though that is the recommended, if you want to be a pro gamer, this is what you need. You need your 1440 monitor. You need this keyboard. You need this mouse. Only 6% of people on Steam have at least a 1440p monitor. So yeah, it's not. 4K isn't as big a deal to computers as many people are making it out to be.
I will say this: somebody who has a 4K monitor on their screen, first off, hey, I'm 1%. Look at me. Right. But secondly, not for gaming, not nearly as important as, oh my God, I can fit so many windows on my screen now. Like it's insane. I have these two 1080p screens, one on either side of my 4K screen, and I just don't like using them. I don't like using them at all because everything gets cramped and the windows take up so much space. It's just really, really nice. All right, other features that are coming Q1. They're adding further assistant functionality when playing on the web.
Nice.
Okay, great. I don't know. I don't know that I care about this because right now the assistant is start a game, and I
Yep.
just don't care about that feature. When talk to me again, Google, when I can hold it down and say, "How do I get past this? Who's it?" And then it shows me a little video. Like then I'll be excited. But until that happens, I just do not care about the assistant functionality. How about
For
you,
sure.
Lloyd?
Yeah, I mean, if I could say okay keyword, zip up all my screenshots and send them to me, so I don't have to go through
Oh,
that ridiculous takeout routine. If I could say that, and then I would just get an email with all my images, that would be really great. But yeah, I don't like I had a Connect on my Xbox One when I first used it, and I would walk in the house and I'd say Xbox on, and that would fire up my Xbox, and then I would do my kitchen things and get ready for dinner and all that stuff. And then I'd come downstairs and my TV's on, my game is loaded, it's patched, everything's there. That is all I used it for, just to turn on my Xbox. I don't use it for my Stadia except to say, okay, keyword start Red Dead Redemption, and then it will start it on my screen because my Chromecast is hooked up. I mean, it's cool and it's really awesome for people that love it. I know a lot of people have whole connected houses where every single light and switch and toilet is hooked up to the internet somehow,
that's
and they
me.
can and they can control them all from their Google Assistant. For me, I have very few connected devices in my house, so maybe I'm not as used to using it. But this will be good for people that are maybe used to using it a lot.
Art by Committee in chat says, "Hey, keyword, stream my gameplay." That would be
Nice.
pretty awesome. Or
That'd
in
be
my,
great.
I was just thinking, "Hey, keyword, make a video from Borderlands 3," and it would take all of the clips that I've made from Borderlands 3, stitch them all together, and post it to a
Hmm.
YouTube channel. Like that would be awesome stuff. And Google, those are free. Those are free ideas for you.
Sure.
Anyway, finally, the one that I think probably the most well I think this is the second most one that people are going to be excited about: support for additional Android phones. Now
Right.
Lloyd and I are both iPhone guys, so neither of us are really excited about this, but I'm not going to speak for Lloyd, but I'm excited for those of you out there who have Android phones who want to have this feature. I think that that's awesome. For me,
Yep.
I'm not going to play on a phone anyway. I'm never going to buy the Claw. I don't want to play a game on a tiny little screen like this. I'm just not. I'm just not interested in that. That being said, I want the biggest screen that I can. But if you want to play on a phone, looks like you're going to be able to sometime soon in the next 3 months. At least if you're on Android, or at least if you are on some Android. And I'm guessing probably the most popular phone. So probably like Samsung Galaxies and stuff like that.
That's right.
Um, this next one is the one that I think most people are going to be excited about, and that's wireless gameplay on the web through the Stadia controller. This
Yeah.
is huge. This is really huge because this is going to lower the latency that you are getting if you have a Stadia controller and you're playing on the web. Like right now, when I play on my Chromecast and if I play on the web, I can definitely feel the difference between the two. And I think that that's really down to two things. One, VP9 codec versus the H.264 codec. And
Yep.
two, the fact that my wireless controller is sending it through Wi-Fi directly to the server instead of going through my PC first. So I think that that's probably pretty exciting for a lot of people. Lloyd, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I agree. Like this, I love this controller. I love the feel of it. I love the force feedback. Like everything about it is really really nice. The one thing I don't like about it is the fact that I can only use it on my Chromecast. But in playing it a lot on my Chromecast, I realized really how short the battery is on this thing. I'm used to using my Pro controller, which lasts for about 7 years. So maybe having it only wired on PC is a good thing because then I can plug it into play and charge my battery since there's no way to pop new batteries in here. But yeah, no, I love this controller. I want to get a Wasabi one for 2-player support. I'm gonna have to order one of those in the near future. I think it's a really great controller, and when you're playing wirelessly, it is fantastic. It just works, except for I don't know if you've experienced it. The odd time when I was playing like going crazy through Borderlands, I would get a pop-up in Borderlands that says my controller is disconnected,
Mhm.
and I couldn't do anything in the game, but I could still hit like the Stadia button to bring up the menus and things like that. It would be nice if there was a way for Stadia to add a function in that menu that slides out that says resync controller with game, for those odd times when stuff like that happens. Just because you're connected but you're not connected, and it's really weird. I don't think it has anything to do with wireless. I think it's just a bug on the server's end. But something like that would be a really nice way to make it so you don't ever have to hook it in, because my solution to that is switch over to playing on PC and I plug it in through USB-C, and it'd be nice if wouldn't have to do that at any point.
I 100% agree. So here's my question to everybody out there. Of these 4 features, which of those 4 features is the one that is most exciting to you? And what games do you think are going to be coming of those 120 games? Which games do you think are on their way to Stadia? Let's move on to the next story. I'm trying to get away from segues because Lloyd and I are working on something. I just did a segue, so we're gonna stop right there and we'll come right back. Anyway, all right. So this next one, Google is working to bring official Steam support to Chrome OS. Official Steam support. And the internet exploded, right? I mean, everybody looked at this and they said, "Oh my God, Steam and Stadia, a marriage made in heaven. Could it be true?" I don't think it's true. I don't think it's true at all.
That's
now,
right.
go ahead.
Every single of the 7,000 games you have in your Steam library is playable on Stadia right away.
Right away.
That'll never happen. But it was interesting to see people online talk about that stuff as if it was already happening.
Yeah, gosh, people need to understand that Stadia, yes, it is a subsidiary of Google, of the Alphabet company, but that does not mean that everything that Google does has something to do with Stadia.
Correct.
What they're doing, so at CES, Con Liu, who is the director of product management for Google Chrome OS, that's the operating system that is on your Chromebook. I couldn't remember what we call them. So that right now is, you can play some games on it, like Android games on it, and Steam is not something that you can install. Well, apparently the Chrome team, not the Stadia team, but the Chrome team is working with Valve in order to get Steam running on Chrome OS devices. Now, somebody might wonder, well, why in the hell would they do that? PC games aren't going to run on this thing. Well, actually, they might. There's a lot of PC games. In fact, I would say the majority of PC games do not need super powerful hardware to run. A majority of PC games are these 2D games with very, very low impact. They don't require a lot of resources in order to run games like maybe Terraria or faster than FTL, faster than light. Like those kind of games, they would run fine on a Chromebook, on low powered laptops like that. And it's a large segment of the market that right now Valve does not have access to. And that means that a lot of the publishers don't have access to that part of the market. So bringing Steam to Chrome OS makes a lot of sense, but I don't think this has anything to do with Stadia. What's your thoughts on this overall, Lloyd?
Yeah, no, I agree with you fully. There's a huge untapped market. It seems like nowadays every school recommends that your students that is going to that school has a Chromebook, or at least is familiar with Chromebooks because they use them in class. So there's a lot of really low powered, like $200 laptops that are being bought every year for things like that are good for Google Docs and web browsing and things like that. Pretty soon it will be good for Stadia for some of these people if they get a Stadia account and get a controller. But adding Steam to that would be perfect. There's a lot of games, like if you look at any of the sites that show review copies available,
Oh my
I would
God.
say 99% of the games that they show review copies available are something that would play on a Chromebook perfectly. Like they're not the most graphically just like showstopper graphic games. There's a lot of visual novels. There's a lot of I just made a video game and now I'm selling it on Steam type games. So there's probably a large percentage of the Steam library that could be playable on a Chromebook. It's going to require some work from the developers. It's going to be require some work from Steam. It's going to require some work from Google. So this is going to take a while to happen. But when it does, having more devices of it able to play games is a good thing. And the nice thing then is this is going to train developers to write for potentially for Stadia, for a Linux-based OS, for hopefully using Vulkan, all the other things that will make developing on Stadia better. So it's going to be kind of like a I don't know, a tutorial, a set of tutorials before you get your Stadia dev kit and start writing your games for Google Stadia.
Yeah, again, people get really excited about this. Just keep in mind, not everything is related to Stadia, and I do think that this overall is a good thing. Now, people in chat are saying, hold on a sec, you can stream, like, there are ways for you to stream Steam games over the internet, and we're not saying that that's not true. What we're saying is that those are not Stadia games. Those are games that are running on a Windows PC, essentially, or maybe a Linux PC, I don't know, but they're running on a PC, and a PC and Stadia, like the Stadia blades, those are not just a box like somebody said, here, let's go grab some parts, throw them together. Oh, look at this, I've got a Ryzen chip and I've got this this GeForce card, we'll slap all that stuff together. That's our Stadia blade. It's custom hardware, and that means that Windows probably doesn't run on that custom hardware. And if Windows isn't running on that custom hardware, then you cannot install Steam. And that means that you cannot just have whatever games that are on there. So just keep in mind that just because it's possible to stream a game on Windows through Steam to some other place doesn't mean that it's easy for them to port that over to Stadia in that way. Now, that being said, I'm sure that Google is helping developers port their games to Stadia, but I doubt that Stadia and Steam are in talks. Would it be amazing? Oh my God, that would be amazing if that were to happen. But it's not going to happen because it's just too many. They're not just technological hurdles that they have to hop over, but also there's a lot of legal hurdles. Like, okay, so let's say that Steam and Stadia they high five and partner up. Does that mean that now every single person that puts a game, or every single company that puts a game on Steam, now they also automatically have a legal relationship with Stadia? I don't think so. I don't think that's the way it works. So there's always these weird things in like legal stuff and technological stuff that get in the way of the stuff that we all get excited about. And we just have to keep that stuff in mind.
It makes for a really great story because you have Epic that has a partnership with Tencent, which is working on their own streaming platform. So it's like, okay, Epic might have their own streaming platform. What if Google gets together with Steam and now Steam has their own streaming platform? And it's just the stories are really interesting. The reality is probably none of this will come to pass, but it makes for some interesting chat on Reddit and other places when you're talking about what could come down the road in the next few years.
I 100% agree. Okay, let's talk about CD Projekt Red. This is kind of a big deal. Lloyd, you did a video about it earlier this week. Can you kind of recap what your thoughts were on CD Projekt Red delaying Cyberpunk 2077?
Sure. So they announced that the game is being delayed a number of months from April 16th, I think, to September sometime 17th. And the internet was the internet was the internet about it. There's a lot of people that are like, hey, that's awesome, and there's a lot of people that are like, you hate us, we hate you, you're the worst, you're the devil, you're ruining my fun. So that typical stuff kind of happened. But the long and short of it is having more time to create a game to make it the best game ever is a good thing for that game. And then I butchered the Miyamoto quote, whereas a rushed game is bad forever, but a delayed game is eventually good. That's not his quote, but it's along the same lines as his quote. And if taking another 6 months to release a game makes it better, that is a good thing for us, the gamers. It's not like we have a limited number of games. It's not like it was funny. I was going through games of the year for 1998 and 1999 because I was trying to figure out which games I played in those years, and you could literally play every single game that came out in those years across PC and consoles because there was maybe a dozen released in some months. It was physically possible to play every single game. The way it is now, it is impossible to play every game on any of the platforms that are available. There's just so many games that are coming out at any one time. So moving a game into the future just means you can play some other things, which is a good thing. But it also means hopefully that the developers will be able to not work the publishers will not work their developers to death during crunch. Although after they posted this thing, they clarified at a developer talk that no, we're still expecting some crunch, even though we're moving this game out a number of months. Which is to me is kind of crazy, but I'm not a game developer. I don't know that world if that is something that most developers expect.
I don't care if developers expect it or not. It just should not. It should not be the norm. I know that right now it's the norm, but it shouldn't be the norm. And every time that a game comes out, and there's been something in the news about, hey, we worked really hard on this and that the crunch was insane. It makes me feel guilty for playing it. It makes me feel bad. Like, man, those guys really had to screw up their lives in order to get this game so that I could have fun. And it's just, I don't know. I'm not a fan of that. So here's my next question, and I think a lot of people's questions. Do we think that Cyberpunk 2077 will now be a day and date release on Stadia, or will the Stadia release be pushed until 2021? What do you think about that, Lloyd?
I'm saying this as someone that is hoping greatly for this to happen. I think it's going to come day and date, but we've seen it with we've covered Nintendo Switch for many years, and a lot of times there'll be a delay for a game, and then we find out that the game is delayed a month, but the Switch version now gets delayed 6 months. So we have past examples of this happening. I'm really hopeful that doesn't happen for Cyberpunk, but that is definitely in the realm of possibility, unless they got a big money hat from Google to make sure that doesn't happen.
And of course, I saw people, especially after I had posted that video where I said that I don't like the idea of, platform holders handing a big bag of money to a developer and saying, don't publish this on other platforms. I kind of talked about that a lot in a recent video. But then after that, I saw people saying, oh, what if Google paid CD Projekt Red to delay Cyberpunk 2077 so that it would have day and date parity release? Right. I don't think that that's true. I feel like CD Projekt Red is a company that I feel like that they do have they understand that the best interests of the gamers are also the best interests for them as a company. And if that happened and that got out, that would tick off a lot of people, and those people would be unlikely or less likely to buy stuff from CD Projekt Red in the future. Now, one of the reasons that I think that CD Projekt Red really does care about what gamers think about them, and where other companies probably don't, is the work that they did to get The Witcher 3 on the Nintendo Switch. For those of you that don't know, that is a massive game. And they could have done the same thing that everybody else did, where they release half the game on the cartridge and then you have to download stuff. But they said, no, we're going to put not only the whole game, but both DLCs on the cartridge itself so that you don't have to download anything to your storage. Like that's the kind of thing when I hear about CD Projekt Red, I'm like, yep, they understand that what's best for their customers is also what's best for them.
Yep.
So not a lot of companies out there understand that, but I think CD Projekt Red is one of them.
Yeah.
One last story before we get to crowd play, and that is this one's kind of weird. We've got that British Telecom. Right? Am I getting that right? British Telecom.
I believe so. Yeah. BT.
Everybody calls it BT. So BT has announced that it is partnering with Google to be the first European distributor partner of Stadia. Basically, BT is running a promotion of its broadband package with those who sign up for either a super fast fiber 2, ultra fast fiber 100, or ultra fast fiber 250, having the option to receive a Stadia Premier Edition, which includes all the stuff that, if you're listening to this show, you know exactly what it includes. Now, I read through this, and it does not seem like they are. If this were to happen in the United States, I'm going to tell you what would happen. All right, are you ready for that?
Sure. Let's sit down for story time with Bill.
So let's say that they partnered with, let's say, Verizon, and you signed up for Verizon, and you got Verizon Fios, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you had Verizon Fios, and you would get your Premier Edition, and then what would happen is Google would pay Verizon a bunch of money so that the Stadia data didn't count against your data cap on Verizon. That's what would happen here, and that's against net neutrality, and I hate that idea. And I read through this article, and I could have missed something, but I didn't see anything in there that said anything about data caps or anything like that. So I think that the overall, this, I guess, is a good thing. It's really just, hey, this, you know what this is? This is no different than when people sign up for Hulu and they get a free Amazon Echo or whatever. You know what I mean? So that's what this feels like to me. It's almost a non-story, but I just wanted to let people know about it. What are your thoughts?
For sure, I agree with you. It's great. It's one of the major broadband suppliers in Europe is basically getting behind Stadia and saying every one of our customers that buys this can have this Premier Edition. Here you go. You can play your games and 3 months of Stadia Pro. That's a really good introduction to broadband internet for their customers. But this has happened before. I've seen deals across the US and even in Canada where if you sign up for a 2-year package, you get a free Xbox One or you get a free PlayStation 4. It's kind of that deal. The difference here is that when you buy those games, probably not everybody is going to be using broadband to play games on it unless you're downloading games. For Stadia, you're using your broadband to play those games. So it's kind of an interesting little twist on there. I'd love to see that happen up here in Canada. If say Shaw or Bell has a deal, you sign up for the broadband, sign up for fiber, and you get a free Stadia package, and you get 3 months of Pro. That would be fantastic. I would love that. But yeah, it's just. It's a cool deal for the people that can access it, but I don't think it's any big sign of things to come. It's more just a really great marketing deal that Google is able to whip up with BT.
Which is a problem that Google has had. They
Yes.
have been bad at marketing, and that's what I think their biggest downfall is, because most of the people that I've talked to who have played Google Stadia have said this is really awesome. And the people who have not have said, I don't know, that's probably not going to work very well. But once they try it, most people say it works really well as long as they have decent internet. So their biggest issue is messaging, and hopefully they fix that. All right. So that's it for the first half of the show. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break, hear from a sponsor, and then when we get back, we've got the crowd play where we answer your questions and we read your thoughts. Stick around.
Have you played Atari today?
All right, we are back. And Lloyd, we got the crowd play. We're going to start with a message from McSaucy, who has a funny name. McSaucy sent in a super chat, and they said 4K or bust. 4K or bust. So I think that they must be one of the people who have the 4K monitor. They're one of those 1% people who have those. So thank you very much for the support, McSaucy.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. And then Gem, hold on, I got to hit a button here because they became a superhero. Gem, or AKA CMR Sentinel, is a superhero. So thank you very much for becoming a superhero, Gem. We appreciate that's a high level of support. We got
Definitely.
some. Go ahead.
I was going to say definitely. That's I love seeing those superhero subscriptions fly by. You folks are just wonderful.
And I was just about to read a tweet, but then we got another super chat. So Captain Skidmarks sent in a super chat. Thank you very much for the support. They said, "Hey, y'all." I used to live in the South. I haven't heard somebody say that in a very long time. Hey, y'all, do you think Google should team up with internet companies in the USA? I would love for them to start expanding Google Fiber to help compete with other internet companies. Well, I think that honestly, what happened with Google Fiber, if I understand correctly, is dead.
Yep.
I mean, they're still running it for people who have already built it, but they are no longer building it out. And the reason they're no longer building it out is because they got sued. They got sued by the other telecommunications companies, which in my opinion is ridiculous because the taxpayers and Lloyd, you might not know this because you live in Canada, and God, this makes me so mad. So taxpayers subsidized the broadband network here in the United States, and then the companies that built it with our tax dollars then own it, and then they sued to make it so that Google couldn't make a competitor, which is just crazy to me. Anyway, I don't want to. Oh no, his camera died, and now I've got to make a joke about it. The lights are out
happening.
in Canada.
Still happening.
So
I don't get it.
Yeah, but now it's just with you and me. All right, he'll be back in a second. So anyway, that's what's going on with Google Fiber. Now, do I think that they should team up with internet companies in the U.S.? I don't. I don't think that they should team up with internet companies in the U.S. personally, because I think that the internet companies in the U.S. are scheming, conniving jackanapes that I don't want anybody to do anything. Like, I don't trust them to do anything. So I would prefer that Google just do their own thing. And here's the way it should work. The internet telecom companies should just treat everything the same. They should treat information from Stadia the same that they treat information from Netflix, the same that they treat information that comes in from wherever. All of that data should be treated the same. And if you invite the telecom companies to get into this, then they start treating things different. And that's when things start getting faster or slower, depending on who's paying who. And at the end of the day, that's a very bad thing. Your opinion on this, Lloyd?
Yeah, in Canada, we also have pretty much all of our telecom is monopolies, or at least it started that way, where each province had their own kind of provincial telecom, and they were funded by the government to basically, I don't know, create all this broadband. So through phone lines, and then when the cable companies started getting involved, there was some issues. It's like, hey, why are you trying to use our customer base to sell internet? We sell internet. And then there was some battles back and forth, and then there's third party companies that want to use it. So it's happening up here too, maybe to a lesser degree than in the US. But I hate that there is that. Like I'm of the mind that internet should be like you get a new house and you call the water company to get water, and you call the power company to get power, and then you call the internet company to get internet. Like, it should just be a service that is provided to you without any sort of weird issues. But of course, there's a lot of weird issues because there's a lot of money involved in it. So Google rolling out more fiber would have been fantastic, because they really upset a lot of places by rolling out super high speed internet, which then caused the internet companies to sort of, I don't know, have to make some changes, make their stuff cheaper, because in a lot of places there was a lot of monopolies. So Yeah, it was great to see, and then to hear them pull out of that made me kind of sad because that was a great thing to see. But in Canada, for where I'm from, a lot of only new areas really have access to fiber in the cities because they're basically trenching and laying new fiber. So to have Google partner with cities in Canada, I'd be super happy about that because I'd love to get fiber in my house that is 30 some odd years old. But for Google to work with other broadband providers to help them roll out, I don't see that as something that they'll ever do. Broadband providers are happy to do things slowly and slowly upgrade, so they can sell you 300 megabit today, and then 400 megabit next year, and then 500 megabit the year after, so they can continue to just squeeze as much money out of their customer base as they can.
Yes. So thank you very much for the conversation point, Captain Skidmarks, and the support. We appreciate it. All right. So unless another super chat comes in, we're going to hit the tweets. We got a tweet from Travis McGuire. He says, with the I just closed it. Hold on. It's coming back up. My bad. It says, with the upcoming launch of Stadia Base, do you think February/March free games will be blockbusters like Red Dead Redemption 2 or Borderlands 3 to keep founders/buddy passers and entice people who play base and see how well it works? I'm scared to buy games. And of course, he used the hashtag Stadiacast, which is how I found his tweet. So that's a very good question. First off, Lloyd, how sad would you be if it was Red Dead Redemption 2 and Borderlands 3 as the February games?
I'd have zero tears running down my face because that means that other people are able to play the games. I've never been one of those people that's like, oh, I just bought a game and now it's free. It's like, good. I bought a game. I enjoyed the game. I'm happy with that. I'm glad that other people have a chance to play it. So yeah, that wouldn't make me sad at all.
What a mature outlook. And I completely agree with you. There are so many people out there that get so bent out of shape if they missed out on a deal because they bought something ahead of time. And that drives me bananas. As far as the idea of making them huge blockbusters, I think it's a great idea. I'm hoping that Google does that, because then here's what people can do. They can subscribe to 1 month to test it out for $10, and that $10 would get them 2 really, really good games. If we get 2 games that particular month. Do you still think that base is coming February, March?
The further we get in January, the less sure I'm getting. I'm really hopeful, but this might be something that maybe gets pushed off to E3, and there's a big buzz at E3. Maybe Google does their own E3 presentation, like a Stadia Connect, right around E3, and unveils it to the world. Well, all the eyes of the gaming public are set to the E3 channels. I don't know, maybe that is more likely now, but I'm still holding out hope that everybody that hasn't had a chance to score a buddy pass from Stadiacast or bought a Premier Edition or Founders Edition will be able to play really, really soon.
You mentioned E3, and I should have grabbed this, and it might have been on Reddit or something. Somebody posted this really cool idea of having, you know how you can go to a convention and play demos and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so a lot of people go to E3 and they play demos, but what if Stadia had like a thing where, kind of like BlizzCon has like the digital pass where you can watch BlizzCon and interact with all that stuff, and it comes with all the digital swag and stuff like that.
Right.
What if they had like a Stadia E3 pass where you could pay like $50 and it would say you get to play all of the E3 demos that are Stadia demos that people would be playing at the actual location? Like, I think that's a fantastic idea. It's $50. It's optional. I'm sure that you would also get some kind of, I don't know, digital chicanery. But at the end of the day, I think that would be a huge game changer for E3 in general, because right now you watch E3 and you see stuff, and I'll give you an example. The Avengers game when I watched the demos for that, like the Square Enix presentation for that, I said that just doesn't look very good. But everybody who I read about who had actually had hands on with it at the, with a controller in hand, they said, "Oh, it plays great." That could completely change the narrative about a game. Hey, look, here's the demo for E3. Jump in and play it. What do you think about that idea, Lloyd?
That's interesting. I know Art by Committee in the chat room said, and I was waiting to say that as well. Is during the Game Awards there was a whole bunch of Steam games that you could download the demos of and play in partnership with the Game Awards. And I believe it wasn't last year because Sony wasn't at E3 last year, but it was either the year before or the year before that. They had a special collection of demos that is like, okay, we're demoing these on the show floor and you can download them today and you can play the first hour of this or the first 5 minutes of this or whatever it was. So it's been done before, but that requires a lot of time. That requires a lot of effort. And if Stadia was just able to put those things up, if you're demoing it on the show floor through a web link, you just make that web link available to everybody. That would be a really, really cool way to do that. I don't know if charging for it would get a lot of people to buy in, but that would definitely be something that I would be probably inclined to click purchase and jump in and play that stuff, because E3 is one of those things where I've always wanted to go and just hadn't been able to, because I'm in Canada and I don't work for a media company that's going to send me on their dime, which makes it just not affordable for someone that wants just for a hobby go and jump down to E3.
The idea of charging for it was the original person who came up with this idea. I think it was on Reddit. That was their idea. What if instead you charged for it if you're not a pro member, and if you're a pro member, you get to try them out for free?
That's awesome. That would be a neat way to kind of monetize the Stadia base. Here, you can get Stadia base, you can play all these games that you buy, or you can buy this E3 demo pack and you get access to these dozen games that you can play on Stadia for, I don't know, $4.99 or whatever it would be. That'd be a really cool way to kind of monetize base, and maybe would show Google's hand a little bit about how they plan to monetize in the future if that is something that they did.
Yeah, and at the Game Awards last year, Jeff Keighley did a thing where they had like this games that you could play that were on Steam, where you could download those. That was in 2019. So that's kind of like what you were talking about with PlayStation having those demos as well. I think that E3 is going to, over time, move away from being this thing, especially with game streaming, being this thing where you can, like, you have to be there in order to really get anything out of it, and it's going to kind of disseminate a little bit more, and I think that that's exciting to me.
Yep.
All right, Anthony Talcott, who is he's essentially one of the co-hosts of this channel. He's always sending in questions, so thank you for that, Anthony. He says, question for the podcast. Stadia base is coming soon, and for it to be successful, they need a sharing feature, strong family security features, and a sale on their biggest titles to entice people. What would you consider to be the minimal amount of must-have features? And I'm assuming he means for Stadia base. Lloyd, what's your thoughts?
I don't know how to qualify that. Is like 7 would be a number. No, that's just a random number I threw out. They need to have family share. I think that is a really important thing, because that's going to allow people to buy a game once and then share it amongst their family. I think when base comes, you'll have families where you have one pro sub and then a bunch of base subs for children, and be able to buy a game and then let my kids play it. For me personally, is pretty important. I hope that games will come out that support the other big Stadia features, where it's like share play type thing, where you're watching a streamer and they say, hey, jump into this link, and they send you a link and you can jump right into their game and play with them, or replay a segment of something that they just did. All of those features would be nice before the base launch happens. Likelihood is probably pretty slim, but for me, I think, yeah, family sharing, I think, is going to be huge for people that have children and they want to maybe control and not have to buy multiple copies of a game just so their kids can play it too.
I think the minimum must-haves for Stadia Base to go is to do what it needs to do is they need to make sure that VP9 is working on Chrome browser 100% of the time, because when you are playing with from everything that I've read, people who have forced VP9 have said it feels better when they're playing. It doesn't look as good. H.264 looks better, but VP9 uses A, way less data, and B, is more responsive. So I think that is the number one thing that has to come through. That's not really a feature per se. I will also say that, yes, I think big sales to entice people is something, especially, well, just for pros. Although, I don't see why games can't be on sale for everybody as well. There's no reason why they can't. But they definitely need to keep having those pro sales. Those pro sales have been fantastic. I've saved a lot of saved a lot of money. Is questionable.
I spent a lot less money.
Yes, there you go. I don't feel like I saved any money because I probably would have spent zero.
That's right. They could do
these.
similar. They could do similar to what Sony does, where they have, if you have PlayStation Plus, you get 40% off a game. Otherwise, you get 15% off a game when it's on sale. Things like that are going to be huge, and I'm sure they have that in the plans. That's a pretty I don't know, simple thing to think of. Probably early on was put on the whiteboard in Superhero's office for things like that, but we just don't have any base members really to be advertising to.
Right. And I think the other thing that it needs when base launches is more diverse library. Look, yeah. I'm a fan of Stadia. It's fantastic. The number of games on it is small, and I understand that is going to get better over time. But there's certain types of games that just don't exist on the platform yet, and that was woefully obvious to me this week when I was itching for some MMO action, and the only option was Destiny 2, which was a shooter, which I just didn't want to play a shooter. So, they need to start broadening out their catalog a little more. It is very I am surprised that we are now at January 19th, and we have yet to have a new game come out this month. That is really crazy to me. I expected to have already had a Stadia Connect by now, and I expected to have probably a couple of new games launch this month. And as it marches forward, I'm like, maybe we won't. Lloyd?
Yeah, no, I fully thought we would have a Connect early in the new year. I thought maybe that was why they went radio silent for a while, was they were planning to say, okay, we're back and we have a Stadia Connect for you on Thursday, and they dropped that message on Tuesday. But sadly, that didn't happen. It would be nice to see kind of where their plans are going. Like, when is base coming? When are new features coming? When can we expect other phones to be officially supported? When is the iOS coming? All those things that we've been kind of talking about. It would be nice to get a little more insight into that before base launches.
All right, so that's it for our tweets and our super chats. Speaking of super chats, Chuck T just sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you very much for the support. They did not send a question, so we can't really respond other than say, high five. Before we get out of here, follow the show on Twitter at Stadiacast. You can follow me at Run Jump Stomp on Twitter, and follow Lloyd at DASME. That's Dasme, as in, hey, Dasme. Be sure to use the hashtag Stadiacast so that we can find your tweets. Also, we are both going to be tweeting out some buddy passes after the show, so make sure that you follow us there, and then join the Discord. There's over 1,000 people in the runjumpstomp.com/Discord. I don't know how I said it like that. And while you're already joining Discords, Lloyd has a fantastic community Discord over at res.tv/Discord. The music you're about to hear is Subterranean Kamikaze by Zircon. You can make sure you check out their stuff at zirconstudios.bandcamp.com. Lloyd, I'll see you next week, man.
See you next week. Have a good week, everybody. All right. I think Bill has stepped away for a second. I can't see his screen, so I'm not sure. I was waiting for the music to end. Or thanks for hanging out with us, everybody, and joining us for the show. We appreciate you, fine folks.
I was here. I was here the
Oh,
whole
you were
time.
there?
Yeah, but that's okay.
You said burb. So
Oh no, I was telling them that we would be right back, but that's okay.
All right. I was doing my hosting thing without seeing what was going on your screen.
Gotcha. All right. So, I just realized I can't send you. Yes, I can. I'm going to send you a buddy pass.
I have a spare one.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
To give out.
So let's send out some buddy passes. So follow at Dasme, follow at Run Jump Stomp. We're going to send out some buddy passes right now.
Mm-hmm.
And after the show, I'll send you some more, man.
Awesome.
So you can dole them out throughout the week. Let's get some music on. It's quiet.
So one thing that you need to do after your install is you need to turn off all of the auto ducking in Discord.
Oh, am I doing that in Discord?
Yeah, whenever any sort of other audio is happening, I can't hear you. You cut out for seconds at a time. But I didn't want to mention it during the show, obviously.
Yeah. All right. That should be better. So let me know if that is better.
Will
I'm
do.
going to turn my head a little bit, and then I'm going to turn back.
Yep, that's perfect.
All right. Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, I reinstalled Windows this week, which meant I reinstalled everything.
I was so hopeful, Bill. I was so very hopeful.
Oh, I think it was Jem in chat said maybe you still have the Logitech drivers installed.
Yeah, no, I uninstalled them. To uninstall them, you have to have the device connected. Then you go into Device Manager, you right click, and you uninstall driver, and then you unplug it. So I even went as far to do that. I'm gonna empty out my registry. I'm gonna do a search for Logitech in my registry and see if there's maybe some other driver that is loading. But yeah, I'm at a loss. I don't know what it could be. Like if I need a new CPU, I'll buy a new CPU. If I need new RAM, I'll buy RAM. If I need a new video card, I'll buy a new video card. Shen, it's not a disconnect. What happens is Discord crashes and relaunches. So it's a crash and relaunch.
But it only seems to happen when you're talking to me.
It only happens when I'm using my camera in Discord now. Before it was happening when I was using a camera on my system, but now it's only when I'm actually video chatting with a camera. So when I do Nintendo Pulse, I'm sending a copy of my screen, and it doesn't happen anymore in Discord then, but it still is happening when I have the camera loaded here. So I don't know I don't really know what the solution is going to be. It's a little bit sad. Discord can't handle my handsomeness.
Especially that new camera. Look how beautiful he is.
Yeah, Discord can see too many pores on my face, so it wanted to get rid of that. It was just like too much. That's way too much. Yeah, it happens after about 40-ish minutes. So it is super consistent. So it's why I'm thinking it's a memory leak issue. So maybe I have bad RAM. I'm gonna do a hardware test and check to see if it's RAM, if it's a hardware issue on my side, but I don't think so. But I don't know. I don't really know what the issue is. It's disappointing is what the issue is.
It is disappointing.
Webcams don't play nice with Discord. Well, I didn't even think the webcam could be an issue. And then I saw a bunch of people on Reddit that were talking about the Logitech C920 doing this exact same thing. So what happens is I have Discord on this monitor over here, and then it crashes, it disappears, and then it reappears here on the center monitor, doing its normal Discord loading thing. And then I have to click into the call, and then I have to turn my web camera on. So it's like the whole app itself is crashing. But because Discord is essentially just a web app that's running in a wrapper, there's nothing in my event viewer as to why it's crashing, and it doesn't keep logs as to why it's happening. So it's super frustrating. I'm dealing with support, and as nice as they are, they're not being a lot of help, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Have you tried Canary?
I'm on Canary.
Oh, yeah. Have you tried Not Canary?
I've tried Not Canary.
Okay.
I've tried them both.
But have you tried Not Canary since you got the new camera?
Not since the new camera.
All right. Maybe try that. I mean,
So,
I doubt that'll
maybe.
fix it, but just to try everything.
It's just, dude, it's so frustrating. As you know, I'm an IT guy, so when there's a bug that I can't solve, it is the worst thing in the world for me. It's like it drives me absolutely insane. So for this to be happening for a period of months, it's just it's terrible. It's like it's the bane of my existence right now. And because it only happens after a long time being on camera, it's not something that I can just test, like make a change and then test it.
Yeah.
Because no one's going to want to sit on a video call with me for 40 minutes hoping that things crash. So yeah, it's just super frustrating.
Do you have multiple PCs in the house?
Not that could do streaming.
Well, they don't have to stream anything. They could just be accepting your, like, just get another Discord account and then get them connected so that they could do their thing.
Yeah, maybe that might be a way to do it.
Then you go cook dinner while it's doing it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. If there was like, if Discord just did what normal apps do, that show a crash log, so I can look in the event viewer and see that it was a memory access violation. It was a kernel panic. It was something that at least I can then take that thread and follow it a little bit. But the app just crashes and reloads, and there's you look in any of the logs in the system, and there's no entries as to what happened. It looks like Discord just kept running.
Darren Pogue says, my concern with base remains that somebody will use an old PC, bad Wi-Fi, unsupported controller, and then start complaining on social media / friends, etc. that Stadia is terrible. While you're right that I'm sure that will happen, I'm sure that Google also has put in, like, they have things that whenever you start up a Stadia instance, it does a connection test and it'll tell you, hey, your connection is terrible. You can't do this. And that gets rid of the bad Wi-Fi issue. As far as unsupported controller, look, Google made it so that you could use any controller you want, basically. I don't think that if you have a controller that's not working and they said use whatever controller you want, that's on Google then. That's on them. They should make sure that every controller is supported. And as far as old PC, I mean, it runs on Chromebooks. How old does a PC have to be before it won't run Stadia? You know?
Yeah.
I've seen people running Stadia on a e-ink reader.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just a web stream, essentially a video stream. Yeah, I have Control Shift I for monitoring, but when it crashes, it loses what was in there before. I save my crash or my console log from just after it reloaded, and I'm going to send that to Discord support. They also want my DX diag info, which I've sent them once already. I don't know. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
So annoying. I'm going to tweet out the buddy pass like right now, folks. So if you're wanting to get in, check out Dasme on Twitter.
Yeah, and if anybody missed it, I tweeted one out earlier, and I put one in chat right here. So scroll up a little bit, and you'll see one. But make sure you follow Dasme. I keep hearing myself whenever I say anything loud.
Really?
Dasme. Hello. No, now I'm not hearing it. Every once in a while, I hear myself when I'm talking.
Can you say it loud again?
Can you say it loud again? No, I'm not hearing it.
No, so it's not picking up my headphones because I have my I have like a whatever that low pass filter thing is pretty low. Like my gate's pretty low. It shouldn't be picking it up from my headphones at all. Except my speaker was turned on, so maybe that's part of it. I'm an idiot.
I'm back.
So I just figured out what the issue was with you hearing yourself. I had my speakers on.
Yeah, so, I've done that before where I've had my speakers running and my headphones running, and I don't hear my speakers are going.
No, me neither. Yeah. So that's probably why you're hearing yourself every once in a while, but everything else should be properly clipped. I would hope. Oh boy, it's just not my day, man.
It could be worse. Oh, look at that. There's the tweet right there, people. Click on it. Click on it. Get a buddy pass. Play games with us.
I did a tweet. I received so many friend requests over like the last week. I guess I hadn't been in there and clearing them out, and so I saw a tweet that someone's thanked you for
Yeah.
for adding them. And it's like, I just need Dasmy to do it too. So I was like, really? I thought I accepted everybody, and then I logged in and I had 9 friend requests. But I can't accept them on my phone. It doesn't allow me.
They need to fix that bug.
Yeah, it's so weird. I can add them on the PC and there's no problem, but on my phone it says your friends list is full.
Yeah, so if I go to here, I'm going to switch my account because I have those 2 accounts. I'm going to switch to the Bill account. All right. I'm going to switch to that account, and if I go to my friends requests, I have 153 notifications on there.
Oh God.
And then which stop sending me notifications on that account. Add Run Jump Stomp as a friend. Okay. So I'm going to switch over to Run Jump Stomp if I can remember how. And on that one, my friends list is full. I still have 4 that I have to accept, but I can only do it when I'm going to play a game, which makes it a huge hassle. Like, oh my God. Let me ask you a question about Borderlands real quick.
Sure.
When you start up Borderlands, does it say your mic is not connected? Your mic is not connected. Your mic is not connected. Over, like a little pop-up keep showing up on the top left of your screen?
I don't think so. I don't remember that ever happening.
It happens to me every single time I play. I just keep getting notification after notification. You're not in a party. Your mic is not connected. And it's only Borderlands. And I'm like, okay, guess what? I'm not in a party. I don't need a microphone. Leave me alone.
That's hilarious. No, I've never seen that. I get your microphone is connected. And then I was like, what? I don't want a microphone connected. And then I go and I look, and my volume's turned all the way down to 0. So even if I did get in a party, it's not going to it's not going to have my voice just broadcasted without me knowing.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. All right, so I have all the stuff. I'm going to send this to Discord support, and hopefully at sometime in the near future, I will have this solved, and then we won't have the crash in the middle of the show. It drives me insane, man.
Well, I have to say, I'm glad that you were having this problem because your camera looks nicer.
Yeah, it does. It's a nice side benefit of having an error. Is I got a way better camera.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep. Let's see here. Awesome. Let's jump into the chat room, see if anybody has said anything. Schoolboy error there. Yeah, no, that's me just being that's me being dumb. I'll just put it that way.
MM2K is saying people should know that they want to cap their monitors at 60 hertz if playing via browser. Either that or you'll get a lot of distortion and lag. I don't even know how to do that. How do you cap your monitor at 60 hertz?
You could probably do that in your graphic settings, but I think with like a lot of modern drivers, it does its own figuring out for like refresh rate and things like that, depending on what you're doing on that monitor, to save power and things like that. Maybe there's a way you can force it though.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Dinshaw Dastur, are most of the promised 120 games in 2020 part of the Ubisoft Uplay thing? I don't think so, because that's going to be I don't think those games are going to be necessarily available to purchase on Stadia. They're just going to be streamable through Uplay. So I don't know if those are part of it, but maybe.
So maybe you're saying like the original Assassin's Creed will be streamable, but you won't be able to buy it.
Maybe not eventually, or not initially. You won't be able to purchase it right away. But if it is available for purchase, maybe that is part of those games. The 120. It would suck if there was like 100 of them would be all of Ubisoft's backlog that is coming to the Uplay stream thing, that would suck. That would be really bad if it's the Ubisoft streaming service.
Yeah, I've seen people posit that quite a bit. I don't have any idea one way or the other. I hope that's not the case because I'm not really a big fan of Ubisoft's games. Not because I don't think they make good games. Those kinds of games usually don't. Like, how many Tom Clancy games do I really need to play? And I know, don't send me messages. I know they make more than Tom Clancy. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Excuse me. They make 3 different Tom Clancy games, Bill. That each have their own sequels.
That's true.
So it's more than just Tom Clancy. It's 3 Tom Clancy's.
But the thing that drives me crazy is that people just assume they're just like they never say, "Oh, I think that this." They say 100 of the games are from Ubisoft, and I'm like, well, you don't know that. And I wouldn't say that none of those games are from Ubisoft because I don't know that. So like all these people who go out there and they say, well, Stadia, blah, 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 because only 100, like it only has 20 new games this year, unless you're talking about Ubisoft games. And I just want to say, you don't know what you're talking about. Why are you spreading this information?
Yeah. To the internet.
Yeah, exactly. Dot Stripe bought a Wasabi controller. It feels a bit cheaper than the Founders Edition controllers. Triggers are more clicky. I did see a 9 to 5 Google article about the clickiness of the triggers. Yeah. I obviously can't test it myself. I'm extremely happy with my Founders Edition controller. It's awesome. It's it's my favorite controller right now.
Like, apparently people are saying they made it more like an Xbox One controller, but this is me hitting my trigger hard on the Stadia controller. This is me on my Xbox One controller. Like, if they made it more like an Xbox One controller, it would make less noise, not more noise. So I don't really know what they're really talking about. The issue was trigger dampers were causing the issues. One thing I wish I could do is dial down the sensitivity of my triggers, because I'll rest my finger on the trigger and I depress it less than a millimeter and I shoot when I'm playing Borderlands, which is really annoying if there's a lot of controller rumble, because I'm not even trying to press it. It just naturally it depresses just a tiny bit and I end up shooting my gun in Borderlands. I wish you could modify like kind of the dead zone on the controllers, the buttons and these sticks. That would be a really nice thing to do.
I think that would be cool. Darren Pogue says my controller is beginning to squeak from playing Thumper, and there's no way to tighten it because you can't get the screw. There's no screws. That's true.
Yeah.
I haven't run into any issues, and I've put a lot of hours on this controller already. Not with Thumper though. Thumper, I'm still only like on level 3 or whatever. Man, that game is good.
Yeah, Thumper is a really good game. I haven't played it at all on Stadia just because I think I got my fill when I played it on VR. Like I was locked into playing that game on VR for a long time when it first came out. Like it was just so good in PlayStation VR. And playing it again on Stadia, I mean, I should at least check it out. But yeah, I don't know if it's gonna rival playing it in VR, which was just such an audio-visual stimulation times 1,000. Like it was crazy.
Yeah, I'm jealous that you got to play that game in VR because I don't have any VR. If you are curious about Lloyd talking about VR, he was on an episode of 143 Pixels with me, and it was actually the first episode, and we talked about him playing Skyrim in VR and how it was a really cool experience, and it made me I was this close to buying it, and I'm glad I didn't. Hey, Captain Skidmarks sent in another super chat. They said, Bill, I'm looking forward to playing Stadia games on my Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus and tablet. Waboo. What is Waboo?
What about you?
Oh, okay. What about me? I'm looking forward to playing them on the biggest screens that I have. My computer monitor, my TV in the other room, and when it comes to it, my iPad Pro 12.9. I love this thing. This is where I want to play Stadia. It's a giant screen. Like, look at how huge this screen is. It's a fantastic screen too. In fact, I put my Stadia sticker on my keyboard case. Where is it? Here it is, right there. By the way, did you put your Stadia sticker on anything, Lloyd?
I did not.
Okay, so when you do, a little helpful hint, it has like a square around it that you can peel off afterwards. So I was walking around, like I stuck it to my keyboard case, right? And then it had like this stupid transparent square, and I was like, that doesn't really look all that good, but I'm going to leave it on there because I like the Stadia logo. And then I saw somebody post about it on the internet. They said, oh, by the way, you can take that piece off, so then you can peel that part off and it just leaves behind the logo. So there's a helpful hint to you.
Nice. I will.
Oh, you
I don't
frozen?
normally
Oh,
put-
no, you didn't. Sorry.
No, I was just reading something that someone sent me on Discord. I generally don't put stickers on things. Actually, if I can find it, where did I put it? Talk for a second. I got to find something.
He wants me to talk about stuff, so I'm going to pass the buck. I'm going to ask you guys to tell me, what games have you been playing on Stadia this week? What has been the games that have been sucking up most of your time? Asking chat right now on Stadia. For me, not much. Not because it's not good, just because I don't want to play shooters, and I didn't want to play any of the games that I have right now. And he's back, and we'll get back to your answers in a moment. What do you got?
This is the one sticker I've put on a thing, and I still love it to death, and I haven't gotten rid of the machine that I put it on. And that is this.
Nope,
Let's,
can't see it. Oh, hold on.
yeah,
Let me make you full screen.
I want to make sure that I can see it myself. Here we go.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's really awesome.
So it's Yoshi eating the apple of my MacBook and on my old MacBook Pro.
You know, I can hear that sticker.
Blam, blam, blam. Yeah, this thing is a beast, though. Holy crap! I forgot how heavy this guy was, and I used to carry it everywhere I went. Amazing how much technology has changed now that you can walk around with an iPad that is half the size and one I don't know 1/5 or 1/20th of the weight.
Oh my
and
god,
it can do more.
It's
and it can
so
do more.
light, and it can do more. Like, I would say most of my video editing is done on my iPad using a program called LumaTouch. It is amazing. I love that app. But while you were gone, I asked people what have they been playing, and so Justin Lindholm has been playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Vaxxer has not played anything. He did dailies in Guild Wars 2, so don't let him fool you. Chris Tan, Borderlands 3. Esteban has been playing Tomb Raider until ESO comes. You're going to be waiting a while. I watched a live stream with the people at ZeniMax, and they said they're not saying anything more about Elder Scrolls Online and Stadia until E3, so you're going to have to wait. Ray has said so much Red Dead. Darren Pogue says Red Dead Redemption 2 and Final Fantasy. Ray's also been playing Borderlands. Tomb Raider 1 is finished. Tomb Raider 2 is started by Sam. Dissentar 76 says Destiny 2 and it moved past me. I can't see it now. XP and gold. I don't know what that means. Captain Skidmarks is stuck on a puzzle in Guilt, so they've moved on to Red Dead. Let me know what puzzle you're talking about. You can send a message to me on the Discord, and I might be able to help you with it because I finished that game. Look, a game that I finished. Dot Stripe just said, thanks for the sticker tip. It looks so much better now. See, I wasn't the only idiot that couldn't figure it out. Because when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, I felt so stupid for not figuring that out.
It's kind of weird, though. Like, that is a weird thing to do. I don't think I've ever seen a sticker do that before.
Well, the reason that they do it is so that you can keep the logo and the words, the letters together. So like you put it down and it's got a thing connecting them all, and then you can peel off that other side so that it's not all connected anymore.
Interesting. I mean, that totally makes sense.
Yeah. Robin Messimer says, still no news on when we're finally going to be able to just get the pro subscription. Oh, you mean without buying hardware?
Oh yeah. So base. I mean, you could do that now if you get a buddy pass.
Right.
After your pro expires your 3 months, you can just keep paying for it.
Yeah. So when Stadia Base comes out, you'll be able to get an account and then just subscribe if you want.
Yep.
And Anthony Talcott's been playing Resident Evil 2. That's a really good game.
I want to play it. Actually, what I want to do, I'm playing Tokyo Mirage Sessions right now, which is fantastic. Loving that. What I want to do is I really want to play Control, because that's the one big game from last year that I missed, and I think it's if I had played it, it would have been high up on my Game of the Year list. But I got to find a way to play that one soon. But there's just too much to play, man. I'm still doing a video a day. I'm coming down with a cold because everybody in my house is sick. And I woke up this morning and my nose was stuffed. I'm like, no, not this. So I think I got to like bang out 7 videos today, just in case I get randomly sick and I can't talk throughout the week.
All right. Well, in that case, I'm going to let you get out of here so you can go record videos.
Awesome. Well, thanks, man. Thanks, everybody, for coming out and hanging out with us. It was a lot of fun to chat with you all, as always. You folks are fantastic people.
Where can people find these one video a day that you're making?
Yeah, if you want to check it out, just go to youtube.com/ResTV. I'm doing a first look a day, and I've done it 18 times. So I have a few more left to do, but there's some really great games, a lot of hidden gems, and then also Tokyo Mirage Sessions. I put that up on Friday when I got home from work, did a 40-minute video of that. If you're interested in a really interesting JRPG, which was underperformed because it was on the Wii U, I think it's going to sell really, really well on the Switch.
So, okay. I've looked at Tokyo Mirage Sessions, and it's about like singers or something, and immediately it makes me want to check out. Should I still pay attention?
I don't know if you really like if you really like JRPGs. This is some really interesting JRPG I don't know, systems, I guess. So you have yourself and then other people on your team, and you can do special moves that if you do a special move against an enemy, say if your special move has a lightning element associated with it, and the enemy that you attack is weak to lightning, it will trigger other people in your party to automatically attack it with their support skills. So you can chain these crazy attacks just by knowing what your skills are and what your other partner's skills are, and then what the weaknesses of the enemies are. So it's really kind of fun. I'm really, really digging it. But yeah, it is very much a JRPG. All of the voice in the game is still in Japanese. They didn't dub it to English. It's all subtitled. It is one of those Japanese games where they will repeat just random Japanese sayings when you're in a battle, and it's just like, that sounds really cool. I have no idea what they're saying because they don't subtitle it. So it is very much a Japanese game, but it's set in like modern day Japan as well. So you're like walking through a representation of like Shibuya in Japan, and it's like, that's really cool that it's a modern day game. And then just besides the fact that it's a cross of Shin Megami Tensei and Fire Emblem, and then it plays more like Persona. It's like this weird game that I don't understand why it exists, but I'm really glad it does, and I'm super, super glad that I'm able to jump in and play it now.
See, when I look at it, it screams to me, because I love JRPGs. I really do. Mm-hmm. But I really don't like a lot of the stuff that comes with JRPGs.
Sure.
And I think you know what stuff I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. And whenever I look at Fire Emblem, or not Fire Emblem, what the hell is it called? Sharp FE, Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Whenever I look at that,
yep,
it makes it like all of the stuff that I see about it makes me think, okay, they took all the stuff that I don't like about JRPGs and turned it all the way up to 11,
right,
and left all the other cool JRPG stuff where it is. And that's cool.
Yep.
for the people that like that other part of the JRPG, but that like that stuff I can't. Like when I played Fire Emblem Three Houses, I loved the combat. I hated every other part of the game.
Okay.
So I should probably avoid this then.
Watch my first look. Watch like the first 15-20 minutes of it, because that is that's as bad as the game gets. Once you actually get control of your characters, it's not super bad, but it's really weird. Like your first the first sort of other character that you encounter in the game that isn't like the main characters that you control is Chrom from Fire Emblem, but he's a ghost, and it's just like, okay, what is happening here? What's this story going to be all about? So just seeing that kind of like clued me into kind of where the story's going and made me want to experience more of it. But it is very much like Japanese Idol, girls dancing and singing, because the game starts when you're in a talent contest trying to find the next big idol. So a lot of it is music, a lot of it is crazy costumes and dancing and all that other stuff as well. So if that's not your jam, maybe you want to skip it. But it's a 40-hour JRPG, which those are rare these days. Usually it's like 100 hours to finally get yourself leveled up enough to take on the final boss. So I think this will be a nice quick one to get through over the next month or two.
All right. Well, thank you, and go watch Lloyd's videos. I'll see you next time, buddy.
All
Bye,
right,
everyone.
take it easy, everybody. Later, Bill.